My name is Father Matteo de la Vega, and the story I am about to relate is undeniable proof that divine grace is often concealed in the ashes. For more than 2 decades, he exercised my pastoral ministry traversing the dusty paths and the mist-shrouded peaks of the vast Mexican land. He have raised the chalice in the most humble temple, those with straw roof and adobe walls, and he have done so well under the majestic vault of cathedral scented with incense. He have witnessed how the light of faith can blaze with unquenchable intensity in the humble eyes of the dispossessed, and, at the same time, how it can languish until it is completely extinguished in the hardened hearts of the powerful. Yet, never, in the totality of my years dedicated to the service of the Lord, could he have anticipated that Providence would allow me to witness an event of such magnitude, so shrouded in mystery, and so overflowing with grace as the one that unfolded before me in the remote hamlet of Santa Esperanza del Monte. It was there, my brothers and sisters, where my own eyes saw the manifestation of the Blessed Virgin Mary, en apparition amid the flame that came to remind us that the unconditional love of a terrestrial and celestial mother is a force more powerful than any fireman or nature can ignite. 10 entières journées began a suffocating July afternoon in the city of Puebla. The air was not only dense but seemed to vibrate with an oppressive heat, and the church bell tolled their vesper rhythm with a languor that suggested fatigue before the harsh sun. He was in the cool gloom of the sacristy, immersed in revising missal, when an urgent knocking interrupted the stillness. It was a young messenger, covered in dust and visibly exhausted from the long journey, who handed me an envelope sealed with the official emblem of the bishopric. He opened the missive with a mixture of professional curiosity and vague apprehension. I read the lines etched by the ink, he felt an icy chill that ran down my spine, a violent contrast to the heat outside. The bishop, with his usual conciseness, ordered me to travel immediately to a small, isolated village deep in the Sierra Mixteca. The destination, an ancient temple, consecrated to the Virgin of the Rosary, which had been reduced to smoking ruin after a devastating fire. They are desperately in need of a pastor, the letter stated, someone who can infuse the breath of faith into a village that has lost not only ETS house of God, but also ETS hope. That night, sleep evaded me. The image of the fire, the vision of ruin, and the echo of abandonment resonated in my mind with an almost painful insistence. He knelt before the small, faithful image of the Virgin of Guadalupe that always accompanied me. In the darkness, he prayed fervently, Heavenly Mother, if this sombre mission is truly your will, guide my uncertain step. If even the smallest spark of faith still subsists in that scorched village, show me the path to rekindle it in their hearts. There was no audible answer or visible sign, but an inexplicable peace, like the caress of an invisible hand, settled upon me. That silent certainty was enough. The next dawn, he packed my few belongings and boarded a bus heading towards the mountains. The road proved to be a long and treacherous serpent of asphalt and dirt. The landscape transformed with every turn, from the vast, golden fields of the valley, we moved to robust hills clad in oak, until a thick, cold fog began to descend, enveloping the road like a shroud. In the adjacent seat, a deux elderly women recited a rosary, low and constant. At one point, without even looking up or interrupting her prayer, her trembling voice rose barely a whisper, Father, proceed with caution. In Santa Esperanza, the fire never goes out. He looked at her in surprise, but she continued her prayer, immersed in deep piety. He could not discern whether her word were a literal warning or a spiritual omen, but that mysterious phrase accompanied me through the rest of the journey. He arrived at the village just as evening fell, when the sun was sinking behind the mountain crest. The air in Santa Esperanza del Monte was heavy, laden with a penetrating smell of oil smoke and burnt resin. The entire place seemed caught in suspended time, with ETS adobe houses silent and ETS cobblestone streets showing no trace of bustling life. In the heart of that stillness stood the old church, a structure mutilated and blackened by the disaster. ETS tower was visibly split, and the bell leaned, twisted by the force of the heat. Contemplating this monument to devastation, he felt a knot of anguish tighten in my throat. The temple was not just a ruined building, but a wounded body that, despite everything, still seemed to breathe. He was greeted by Doña Clara, an elderly woman whose face bore the marks of weariness, but whose gaze retint en indomitable firmness. She led me to the old rectory, a modest refuge covered in dust and inhabited by cobweb. As she showed me the room, she confided in Halo, confidential voice, Father, since dead fire, no soul has dared to enter the temple. The people claim the fire is still alive inside, even though the stones are cold. Some events a day have seen shadow moving among the rubble. My concern immediately focused on the object of my mission. And the image of the Virgin? He asked anxiously. Donia Clara lowered her gaze, visibly affected. She disappeared that night. Some believe she was consumed by the flame, other, that Someon rescued her and hid her. The truth is no one has the courage to look for her in the darkness. He remained silent, absorbing the magnitude of the tragedy. Night was falling quickly, and a chilling wind blew from the north, dragging with it the bitter smell of ash. With a small oil lamp in hand, he ventured alone into the temple's interior. The walls were saturated with soot, the altar lay destroyed, and the pews were scattered and broken. Nevertheless, despite the palpable destruction, something sacred remained, a dense, almost palpable silence enveloped me, testifying that the spiritual life of that place had not been annihilated. He knelt on the floor before the fallen altar and prayed in a low voice, Our Lady of the Rosary, if your presence still dwell in this place, grant me a sign of your grace. If your holy image still exists, show me where you are hidden among the ashes of this ruin. Suddenly, a subtle creak, like the wood, echoed behind the main altar. He brought the lamp closer and, among the blackened stones, distinguished a small shred of blue cloth, barely visible. He touched it with infinite caution and, in doing so, felt a soft, comforting warmth, like that of a freshly lit candle. He retrieved the fragment and confirmed my suspicion, it was a piece of a mantle embroidered with golden star. Without the slightest doubt, he recognized it a part of the Virgin's vestment. My heart, until then oppressed, began to beat with renewed strength, and tears of hope ran down my face without me being able to stop them. There, in the midst of desolation and smoke, he had found the first vestige of the mother. That night he could barely sleep. The howling wind seemed to evoke the roar of the flame, and every shadow projected on the adobe wall reminded me of the life the fire had claimed. But within my soul, a certainty burned with more force than the insomnia, the Virgin Mary had not abandoned that place. The next morning, he summoned the few remaining faithful. There were no more than 20 people, mostly elderly and women whose faces were marked by grief. He spoke to them from the atrium with a heart inflamed by the promise of the discovery. Brothers and sisters, the fire may have consumed the walls and the wood, but never the face. If we join to rebuild this temple, if we return to the Virgin rightful dwelling, she will, inevitably, return to us. A murmur of fear and disbelief ran through the small group. Some shook their head. Father intervened a robust man in a straw hat, that fire was not the work of men, but a punishment. Since it burned, those who dared to enter fall or lost their mans. Do not disturb what God intended to leave buried. It was not a punishment, but a test of faith, he replied with authority. Fire, when confronted by love, purify, but does not destroy. Donia Clara, her eyes filled with silent tears, nodded. Father, if you believe the mother is still here, we will follow you. And with that promise, sealed by hope, my mission in Santa Esperanza began. What neither they nor he could imagine was that the fire, the very thing they feared, would soon ignite again, and that in the heart of those flames, heaven would show USTS immutable face. The subsequent days were a succession of exhausting work, clouds of dust, and incessant prayer. The temple seemed to resist being awakened from a tedious sleep of ash. Every stone removed, every board replaced, released an ancestral smell, a persistent mixture of smoke, dampness, and forgotten face. With the help of the few, he dedicated himself to cleaning the altar and repairing the pews, slowly but firmly restoring the soul to the place. The trembling of the elderly worked in a silent, communal effort. We knew our labor transcended mere masonry, we were trying to return life to the possibility of a miracle. One afternoon, as the sunlight faded behind the peaks, he remained alone in the temple. Shadow stretched and elongated between the broken column, and the wind whistled through the gap in the roof. In the center of the makeshift altar, he placed the piece of blue mantle he had recovered from the ruin and, kneeling, he prayed the rosary. Suddenly, the lamp's flame flickered with unusual violence, and a chill ran through my body. It was not terror, but a sensation of overwhelming respect and awe before a soft, yet intense, presence that flooded every corner. In the dense silence, a feminine voice, diaphane as a murmur of stream water, whispered, "They have not found me yet, my son, but do not grieve, fire is incapable of touching that which belong to heaven." He prostrated myself on my knees, trembling, tears in my eyes. He tried to articulate a word, but my lips remained paralyzed. The voice vanished as mysteriously as it had arrived, leaving behind a subtle and exquisite aroma of rose. In that instant, he understood the truth, the image of the Virgin existed, she was not lost, but awaiting the right moment to be revealed. The next day, he shared my experience with the faithful. Most crossed themselves with renewed devotion. But other, like Don Ramiro, the most skeptical man in the village, frowned with suspicion. Father, he said severely, those are just illusions produced by exhaustion. The fire took everything. Do not disturb what must remain underground. And what if the fire did not take her? He countered. What if heaven itself wished to return what we believe lost? Don Ramiro looked at me with contempt and withdrew, muttering inaudible word about superstition. That night, the wind blew with unusual fury. The clouds devoured the moon, and the sky acquired a dark red hue. The village seemed to hold the its breath, expectant. From the rectory, the dark silhouette of the temple was intermittently illuminated by distant lightning. He knelt before the crucifix, imploring protection. In the midst of my prayer, should broke the darkness. He ran to the plaza and saw several villagers pointing at the temple. A malvol orange glow filtered through the crack of the blackened windows. Fire, Someon cried. The fire HS returned to the church. Driven by a fervor that was not my own, he grabbed a bucket of water and ran. The heat emanating from the temple was unbearable. Flame rose from the roof, roaring and crackling like living beasts celebrating their feast. Doña Clara tried to stop me, clutching my arm. Father, do not go in, you will be consumed. The Virgin is in there. He shouted, freeing myself from her grip. He entered. The air was a burning mass, and the dense smoke blinded me, scraping my lung. My skin burned, my chest tightened, and every step was a battle against hell and fear. But a powerful, divine intuition urged me forward. He advanced towards the altar, guided only by faith. Within the jaws of the fire, in the background, he saw a golden flash. It was not a flame, but pure light. He fell to my knees, cooking, my eyes filled with tears of pain and astonishment. Before me, inscribed among the shard remains of the altar piece, stood the image of the Virgin of the Rosary. It bore not a scratch, nor a mark of soot. Her face, serene and unalterable, shone with an impossible clarity, and the fire seemed to retreat around her, respecting her immaculate presence. He approached, trembling. My mother, he gasped, he will not let you be lost again. He took her in my arms, protecting her under my cap. Just at that moment, a ceiling beam collapsed behind me, releasing a storm of sparks and ash. The floor trembled, but my body, sustained by an external force, did not falter. The heat scorched me, the smoke burned my lung, and yet, he managed to reach the door with the image tightly pressed against my chest. Outside, the villagers stared at me with terror and amazement. But I crossed the threshold, the final manifestation occurred. A powerful, cool gust of wind descended from the sky, and the air filled with an inexplicable floral perfume. The flame, which until then had roared with uncontrolled fury, began to recede, sucked inward. The faithful fell to their knees. Doña Clara burst into tears, shouting between sobs, "It is the miracle. The mother protect him." The fire went out abruptly as it had begun. In second, the temple was shrouded in smoke, but it was no longer burning. And then, the bell, those twisted and rusted bells, began to chime on their own, slow, solemn, announcing a mystery consummated. He remained in the atrium, kneeling, holding the image. I had no burns, nor was my clothing scorched, only my face was covered in ash and tears. The people approached slowly. Some, with rever fear, touched the image, others knelt, overwhelmed by faith. The moonlight, which broke through the clouds at that precise instant, illuminated the Virgin's face, and we could all see it. A luminouter descended a right cheek, if she, too, wept with pity for her rescued people. The silence was absolute. No one dared to speak, only the sob and the faint, miraculous tolling of the bell could be heard. In that moment of revelation, he understood that what had happened was much more than the rescue of an effigy, it was the rebirth of an entire village, the unmistakable sign that heaven still had word for us. At dawn, Santa Esperanza del Monte was wrapped in a precarious calm. The image rested in the sacristy, and he remained awake, praying, when he heard the voice inside me again, the fire purify, my son. Now prepare their hearts, for the true miracle is yet to come. He went out to the plaza carrying the intact image. Brothers and sisters, he said with a trembling voice, the fire wanted to destroy us, but she has returned. She did not burn us, she purified us. Even Don Ramiro, the skeptic, approached, his gaze full of soot and a newfound faith. Father, he saw how the fire went out. This is not the work of man. It is the work of heaven, he replied. The miracle spread like a blessing. Pilgrim began to arrive. The village, on silent, was filled with working and children slaughtered. But the peace was fragile. In the hills, a group of men, self-named the Son of Iron, rejected Marian devotion, believing only in the word and in severity. Their leader, Thomas Aguilar, descended into the village with content. This is a deception, he declared, looking at the image. Fire does not obey Virgin. If your miracle is real, let's see if it happen again. That night, a thread took the form of a torch. As we finished the rosary, an explosion shook the church. We ran outside. The granary, newly rebuilt with effort, was burning again. He saw Thomas Aguilar and his followers in the distance. If your Virgin can handle fire, Thomas shouted, advancing towards the church with a lit torch, let her defend it this time too. Before he could stop him, Thomas threw the torch. The flame caught on the pews. He ran towards the altar. The heat was a physical punishment, the smoke suffocated me, but divine intuition led me to her. A beam fell, blocking my path. He closed my eyes, raised the cross, and cried out, in your name, Mother of the Rosary, let the fire cease. In that instant, the temple was flooded with a furious, icy wind. He heard the voice, do not fear, I am here. He turned, and amid the smoke, he witnessed the ineffable. A resplendent figure, wrapped in a celestial blue mantle, slowly descended from the broken roof. She did not touch the floor, and her face radiated a peace that was more powerful than the burn of the fire. Outside, Thomas Aguilar fell to his knees, covering his eyes. The apparition extended her arms, and the fire, obody, began to yield. The flame extinguished one by one, leaving behind an intense, fresh scent of rose. The church fell silent, bathed in a soft golden light. The Virgin spoke to me one last time, her voice echoing in my soul, the fire did not come to destroy, but to unite. Men burn themselves with their hatred, but love extinguish everything. Tell them to return to the hat. He staggered out of the temple. The entire village was prostrated. Thomas Aguilar lifted his head, his eyes full of tears and soot. Father, he saw her face. It was not of this world. Forgive me. He approached the man who had caused the fire and embraced him, feeling his body tremble like a child. That day, the Mother of the Rosary not only extinguished the flame, but consumed the resentment. When the mother of an injured man approached Thomas and offered her forgiveness, the barrier of hatred broke. The entire village embraced, and the children sang the Ave Maria with pure voices. Helena, the girl with the white rose, announced to me, Father, my mother woke up and spoke. She said the lady dressed in blue touched the rat. The miracle of healing was complete. The bishop, Upon hearing the testimony and seeing the transformed temple, declared Santa Esperanza del Monte a Diocesan Sanctuary. The bell, restored, she made with a clear sound that spread across the valley en invitation to peace. Thomas Aguilar became the sanctuary's first guardian, dedicating his life to cleaning the stones he himself had tried to destroy. Helena joined the small community of women, the Sisters of the Rosary, consecrated to keeping the flame of faith alive. Time has passed, my hair are white as the ashes of dead fire, and my en tremble. But every time I enter the sanctuary and see the intact image, I feel the same tremor in my soul. The Virgin of the Rosary stead. Today, Santa Esperanza del Monte is not the village of fear, but the village of light, a beacon where fire does not destroy, but purify. And I, the humble witness, close my eyes, breathe deeply, and silently repeat the truth revealed to us that night. In the end, it was not a man who plunged into the fire to save an image. It was the Virgin who plunged into the fire to save all of us, demonstrating eternally that a mother's love extinguish everything.